Hey there, welcome to my weekly messages. I'm Jelaila Star. Today the topic is shingles, a message from your inner child. Now, you might wonder why I chose this topic. Well, here's why. I ended up with a case of shingles. Very first case, didn't even know what it was, but I got it. And I got to tell you, it's one of the most excruciatingly painful things I have ever experienced apart from childbirth. And that doesn't last very long. You know, this has been going on for several days. So anyway, today I decided to go ahead and do this video. It's Saturday. I usually don't make it till Sunday or Monday, but today I feel fairly decent because I'm, I've been taking Advil. It's helping keep the pain down a little bit, and so I can actually talk. Anyway, so here's the message. I wanted to share this because I know this is a time when our guys just seem to be kicking our butts with more and more emotional clearing, more and more lessons, showing us areas where we're still not loving ourselves, where we're still, crossing our own personal boundaries and hurting ourselves, so that we don't keep doing that. Because, at the end of 2012, our planet crosses the galactic equator, we move into a new reality, and we're going to take with us whatever we haven't cleared. So it's like we are trying to dump as much as we can right now. And that's why the lessons are coming fast and furious. So my lesson has been about chronic uncertainty and putting myself in a position where I create too much of that, or I allow too much of that in my life, because I will not put myself first at times when I need to. I put other people's needs first. That is typical of a chronic chronic caretaker. I call myself a recovering caretaker because at least I'm aware that I'm doing it, that I have the problem. So how did this all come about? Well, several days ago, I noticed that I woke up with this excruciating pain on my left side of my neck. And I thought, well, maybe it's just my neck is out. And it went on for days until finally I said, I've got to go to the chiropractor, because I wasn't able to sleep. It just wouldn't go away. And I never even noticed it. I never had anything like this before. So I finally went to the chiropractor, and yes, my neck was out. It was compressed on the left side, and he popped it, and boy, I could feel a rush of energy when he released that. But that morning, I noticed that some red bumps had started to develop right here. And you can look and see that my ears are off. Like, this ear is bigger than this ear, because this ear is blistered all the way around the back. I mean, I've got like a Dumbo ear here. And then it's blistered back here in my hair. And but only like a couple of bumps had shown up. I'm like, what the heck is this? So I asked him, I said, do you know what this is? He says, I don't know. But he says, obviously your body's under tremendous stress, or otherwise you wouldn't have those. So on the way home, I noticed that the chiropractic adjustment did not bring, the relief I was looking for. It helped, but that burning sensation, and it's like someone stabbing you with an ice pick over and over again, did not go away. And so that went through the rest of the day, and it was just unrelenting. And then that night I went to bed, and it was so painful. It woke, I had like maybe an hour sleep, and it woke me up, and I finally just had to get up. So I went, and I noticed when I put my hand back there, that there were more blisters. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? So I got on it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I went downstairs, and I got on the computer, and I started searching, and lo and behold, I found out that I had shingles. I'm like, oh. I remember standing there I sat back in my chair and just stared at it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. I have got shingles? And then all of a sudden I was just overcome with this feeling of despair. And it's like this wail just erupted from my body, and I just broke down in tears because I was so tired, and I was so exhausted, and I was so drained. And I just kind of fell apart there. Thank God no one was around to hear me. But anyway, and I just cried, and I said to my guys, I said, what have I done? I mean, why did I get this? What's going on here? And so I asked, and then, you know, it takes about 24 hours, you get the answer. Well, sure enough, in 24 hours, I did get the answer. And it was, that wail came from my inner child. She was telling me, this is how I feel. I feel drained. I feel exhausted. I feel overwhelmed. I feel totally stressed out. I feel that you don't love me, you don't care about me, or you wouldn't put me in this position. And the reason that, so I sat down and I started to think about what were all the things I did to create this problem, because I don't want to go through this again. And I realized that there were major stressors in my life that were all happening at one time, and it was more than I could handle. For one thing, I had just completed a 2-month visit from Jonathan, my ex-partner and husband, and he has Parkinson-like syndrome, which means he can't walk very well. He's tired a lot, and when you have somebody who is ill like that visiting you, you can't relax. You are on alert all the time. And I could handle maybe a week or two of that, but I could not handle 2 months, and it had gone on 2 months. And on top of that, I really hadn't recovered that much from the intense grief process of losing my brother. I had just come out of the worst of that and was starting to start to feel normal again when Jonathan came to visit. And I invited him because I thought I could handle it for a couple of weeks. And I just couldn't handle it longer. And then on top of that, you know, we've got a trip coming up at the end of May where my other brothers and I were supposed to go out to Colorado and look for my brother Keith, because he had taken his life up in the mountains, but the sheriff, the rangers had never found him. They only found his truck. So we're going to go look. And there was a lot of trepidation, uncertainty about that, a lot of stress, because one of my brothers is very adamant that Keith should be moved. He should be taken and put in a proper grave. And the rest of us are going, no, he wouldn't want that. He wants to be left there. So the possibility of a major family dispute that would basically ruin all the hard work that we had done for the last 3 years to try to heal our family, was just tearing me up. So I had that uncertainty, along with being drained by, the situation with caring for Jonathan, and, the uncertainty of not knowing whether he's going to fall down the stairs or not. It was just too much. And then, of course, there's the work. We're still in the limbo stage. We haven't birthed this new whatever we're supposed to all be doing. And there's that uncertainty on top of it. So all those together were more than my body could handle. And I wasn't paying attention to the fact that it was more chronic than I was aware of. And as a result of that, I developed shingles. And it's funny because the shingles started 2 days after Jonathan left. Because I remember when he left, I was exhausted. I didn't want to say to anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was wiped out. But I didn't realize how bad it was. So the lesson there was to become more aware of when I have reached a limit and do whatever it takes to change. And now when I look back, what I would have changed was, instead of letting the visit go on for 2 months when I knew I couldn't handle it, would have been to risk hurting Jonathan's feelings by telling him he had to go home and making certain that it happened. Which I kept saying I wanted him to go home, but I never followed through. I kept caving in because I knew he didn't want to go back to California right away. To stop putting other people first when it's going to cost you both. So that's the message for today. Hopefully you glean something out of it that helps you, and have a better week. I intend to. So I'm healing, and lesson learned. That's it. Talk to you next week.